In today's video, we're going to be going over how to bulletproof your knees. The knees are a basic hinge joint. They're designed to flex and extend. They're not designed really to get much rotation or lateral side-to-side movement. So I like to call the knee the problem middle child because a lot of times pain in the knee, barring some major trauma, is not a cause of the knee. Usually the ankle below it isn't moving well enough, or if the hip can't control it well enough, you get a lot of tension going through the soft tissues in the knees, and over time, that's what can lead to these chronic injuries we see. We're gonna start out today with some really basic assessments that will look at the ankle and the hip and see if they're contributing to your knee pain. All right guys, so this is the best assessment to see if your ankle is restricted, which could be affecting the knee farther up the chain there. And so what you do is you get into a kneeling position as Blake is here, and so you place your foot about a fist length from the wall there. So go ahead, Blake. Perfect, okay? And so what you do is you lean forward and you see if your knee can touch the wall. So Blake's is pretty good, it's pretty close. What we're looking for is big changes, big restrictions, kind of like what we see here, and you don't want the heel to come up. It's a common compensation we see here. So a lot of times the ankles can get restricted from wearing big shoes, big boots, high heels. I don't know how much Blake wears high heels.
All the time.
But when we see that restriction, ultimately, it doesn't show up in the ankle as much, it usually shows up in the knee. If in the ankle dorsiflexion test you found that you were losing some ankle dorsiflexion there and reducing the overall range of motion in your ankle, here are two ways to loosen up the ankle and get some better motion there. All right guys, so this is the first mobilization to work with the ankle joint. So what we did is we have a band here wrapped around a post, and you can see here I'm gonna have Blake put it right on the ankle joint, so right above where the foot basically meets the ankle. So that's his talus bone, okay? And so a lot of times the talus gets pushed forward, which then restricts your ankle dorsiflexion. And so what I'm gonna have him do is just come forward here, good. Really focus on keeping the heel on the ground. So the reason this is so important for the knee is because when we lose this dorsiflexion, basically it pushes the top of the tibia forward. The main ligament that restricts the tibia from moving forward is the ACL. Now I've had ACL injuries myself and they're not fun, so doing this exercise helps prevent some of those ACL injuries by taking stress off the proximal tibia here. Alright guys, this is the second way to help open up the ankle, get some better movement in there. So I'll have Blake go against the wall in a classic calf stretch, go ahead. So he brings his right leg back a bit, good, keeping the heel on the ground. And so this is called the triplanar calf stretch. So what I'm gonna have him do is take his other leg and swing it back and forth here, good. And then forward and back, good. And then a little bit of rotation around that hip joint. And so what this does is it stretches the calf and the tissues in the back of the leg in all different planes, and it's a much more effective calf stretch to get better range of motion into the ankle. The tighter the calf, less range of motion in the ankle there. All right guys, so this is the assessment to see if the hip can control the knee. So it's called the 8-inch step down test. So I'll have Blake stand on this box. It's about 8 inches, close enough, and you're right on the edge. And so what I'm gonna have him do is basically he stands up on it and then takes his other heel and drops it and just barely touches the floor. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at how the knee tracks. And so his looks pretty good, nice, stable, nice and slow. What we'll see a lot of times, most of the times, is this knee crashes in. It's called a valgus loading pattern. There's been all kinds of research showing that a valgus loading pattern puts more stress on the ACL, MCL, meniscus, basically just puts more stress through the knee. So this is an awesome test to work on to see if the hips are a contributing factor here.
Yeah, so you guys, just so you know too, we're looking for that knee valgus, but we're also just looking for generalized instability, right? Like wobbliness of the knee.
Right.
Both of those would indicate that you need to work on those hip stabilizer muscles.
So on that assessment, if you found that the hip wasn't controlling the knee well enough, it was either crashing in or out or just overall unstable, here are a couple ways to work on stabilizing the hips, which will ultimately stabilize the knee. All right, the first exercise I'd love to give to patients and clients to strengthen the hips is called the clamshell. And so what I'm gonna have you do is go on your side. Yep, and so you want your knees at about 90 degrees, hips a little bit more than 90, about right there. And so the exercise is super simple. You're just gonna keep your feet together and you're just gonna lift this knee up here, okay? And then come down. The big points with this is I want you to go slowly. I don't want you to try to rep through these, and keep your back perpendicular with the ground. Because if you start rolling back, you're recruiting more the QL erectors, and it's not what we want to hit. We're trying to hit the glute med muscle here, which is a small muscle here that is responsible for stabilizing the hips when you're on one leg. And in almost all sports, you're on one leg a lot. And so this is a great exercise to start strengthening and stabilizing the knee through the hips.
And you can actually progress this exercise once you've mastered the, just your leg weight by adding a resistance band to the knees, right? And you just, like Dr. Garrett said, you want to keep the range of motion short on this. You don't want a lot of pelvis rotation going on. And once you've, like I said, mastered this, you can wrap your resistance band around the knees to add a little bit of a load to this movement and take it to the next level.
All right, guys, so this next exercise is geared towards stabilizing the hips, similar to what we do with the clamshell, but in more of a weight-bearing, more functional movement. And so what I'm going to have Blake do is hold on to the wall with his left hand, and then he's going to lift up his left leg here, and then it's called the hip wall pivot. Basically what he's going to do is he's going to try and lift this, or jut it out first, this hip, and then lift up the other side. So you're not pulling from the left side here, you're more trying to push up from the right hip here. And so what this is doing is it's working that the glute med muscle in a more functional movement. And this looks like a very simple exercise, but it starts to burn really quickly and it translates well into more functional movements here.
Yeah, and just to add on that, this is actually very difficult and you get an insane contraction in the gluteus medius, which will really help you stabilize the knee. But it's very important that it looks like I'm pulling up this left hip when I'm coming this way. But I'm actually pushing my hips that way with my gluteus medius really hard, and this left side is just naturally coming up as a result of that. But all that power and that contraction is coming from the leg that you're standing on, so really focus on maximizing that contraction over there.
All right, last exercise in this hip-centered knee stability is basically, it's a kind of a recreation of the initial test. And so it's called a single leg chair squat. So what I'm gonna have Blake do is stand on one leg here again, kick the other leg out, and then just sit as slowly as you can down onto the chair, paying special attention to what the knee does. And so by actively concentrating on where the knee goes, he's activating his hip musculature, it's incorporating a bit of the ankle mobility that we went over before as well, and this will translate a lot better into sport, running, soccer, basketball, whatever. But it's that practice of concentrating where the knee goes is what makes the biggest difference.
Yep. And what you want to be focusing on is really mitigating the wobbliness. I had a little bit of it going on there. I actually have some issues on this right side. Try to mitigate it all together. Keep it really straight. Knee kind of tracking in alignment with the toes and not dipping in. So that's it for today's video, guys. We really hope that you enjoyed this. If you did enjoy this, then you're really going to love our 3-day functional training plan. Basically what this is, it's a 3-day functional workout plan that combines corrective exercises, joint mobilizations, foam rolling, and other stuff like that with strengthening exercises, so you can actually get stronger and leaner while kind of bulletproofing your body to injury. There's a ton of stuff in there that is knee focused, glute activation focused, similar to what we showed you here today. I really think that you're gonna like that. If you want to get that, then just open up the description box down below and click the first link available there. That will take you over to my website. I'll ask you for your email when you get there. Just enter in your email and I'll send you the workout within 5 minutes. If you're looking for another place to get that workout plan, you can go over here and click right in front of Garrett's stomach. If you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel here at GuerrillaZen Fitness, make sure to click this button down here. And if you want to see a video like this one that we've made in the past, go click over Garrett's face over there. And that's it. We'll see you next time.